welcome. It's me, Percita, and this is Percita's Paradox. Here we are. It's Tuesday, the beginning of the week. We're feeling fantastic. We are moving in purpose and life and all that other good positive stuff, and we are ready to get it going. So, let's talk. If you're new to this channel, I really thank you so much for coming on today. I thank you for your time. I thank you for your effort in giving me a chance, because there's plenty of channels that you could try, and you tried me, and I greatly appreciate it. Outside of that, thank you so much for the people who have continuously stayed with me. You are fantastic, and I appreciate your weekly support. So today we're talking about this thing that we really don't want to say a lot anymore, because we live in a society that is all about receipts. Everyone, everything needs some sense of proof or validation that you're somebody, right? I mean, we basically function in a manner, and if we don't have a lot of likes and we don't have a lot of subs and we don't have the blue check and all of these validational things in our social media platforms and in our personal lives, because somehow that transcends over into that. But whatever that is, that thing we're looking for, it really is a public acknowledgement of who you are and what you're about. The sad part is that typically it's not really something that you should focus on. There's nothing wrong with the accolade, and there's nothing wrong with the public validation, but when it's your sole purpose in your day-to-day life that people actually believe you or want to follow you, to me is when it gets a little tricky. Don't get me wrong, I love the fact that people will come on this channel and listen to me and respond to me and feel as if I'm some sense of influence to them and that I help them. That is fantastic. I think we all will agree that there is a perspective of everyone's personality that wants to be of assistance, and you want to be in a position where you are leading and guiding someone there, right? Everyone wants to be the chief. No one wants to be the Indian for the most part. So I say all of that in saying, how complicated is it to then find your way and move in a manner that does not give you any sense of quantification of if you're properly doing it or not? Meaning, you're not the popular one. You're not the one that necessarily is in everyone's faces. Your channel's not, full of subscribers. You're not really getting a lot of comments. People aren't commenting on your pictures and so on and so forth. How do you handle that? Is that something that you find yourself going like, hey, no big deal. I'm good. I'm solid in myself. I'm just posting the post, or I'm just speaking to speak, or however you want to look at it? Or are you the type of person that is actually struggling with it? I want to hit on both personalities for a few minutes, if that's okay, because I feel as if there is something to learn from each. There is absolutely nothing wrong with driving your energy of success and the ability to get things done and move in a manner that can assist others to be better within themselves. Again, the issue comes when your sole purpose in your mind is to receive some sense of validation back from the person. I've learned that even if I'm giving my best video, right? I feel like I'm giving you everything I got, and that's going to be a great video. People are going to love it. There's always going to be someone who hits the negative dislike button. Meaning, you're not going to hit everyone. Everyone's not going to be a part of the love fest of what we want to be. A friend of mine, again, she continuously says, it's hard for her sometimes to believe that people don't like her, because in her life, she's always been Oprah, and everybody likes Oprah, right? What says you to the person who is not able to handle the fact that sometimes they may not be that? I give you that because I want you to feel the identity of what you are doing, what you're doing for. Like, what is your true intent? When you really figure out to me what your true intent is, it becomes easier to move in silence. And you might say, well, how would an influencer move in silence, Percita? I mean, you're literally on, YouTube, or you're on Instagram. Well, one, I don't really consider myself an influencer. Even though I get the concept, I get the word, I get why we perpetuate it to be that, I don't really feel like that. I feel like I'm more of a prophetic speaker who just literally comes off and shares my ideas. If that influences you, so be it. But my identity in what I want to call myself is not that. And I don't really allow anyone to call me anything that I'm not agreeing with, if that makes any sense. So it gets a little tricky. But it's very easy for me to move in silence. And what I mean by that is that I'm only going to speak what I felt led to speak. Not really more, not less, not a lot of opinion in the sense of needing to tell someone what to do, but more of an opinion of experience within myself. Does that make sense? So when you get to a place where you can literally go through life and move in silence and not really be caught up on all of those things, I believe that that's when all of the accolade from the public comes. Even if you're posting photos, even if you're doing things like that on, Facebook and TikTok and whatever it is, if you're doing it just because you enjoy doing it, you'll notice that those are the people who actually blow up. And you say, well, that's not silent. Well, it kind of is, because they're not in a position of pushing themselves in a manner to say, look at me, I'm great. It's more of a, I'm going to be me. And if this is great for you, then this is great. So there's the silence portion of it. There's the ability for them to be able to do it without having this need to tell everyone what they're doing. They just kind of do. And in the matter of them doing, success happens. So we typically think about moving in silence. I mean, and I could use it in that manner also. It's like if you're going to buy a house, you don't really need to tell people you're buying a house. You just buy it and invite them over. And they may be like, oh, you're in your same place. Oh, no, let me give you my new address. So if you're buying a car, you don't need to tell people, I'm actually looking to buy a new car. You simply buy a new car. And in buying that car, when you drive over and see someone, they see it. Not everyone can do that. Not saying that it's right or wrong. I'm simply saying that there's always the option to be able to utilize that. Because I tend to notice that people who don't, at some point when things are going bad, they get frustrated that they feel like people are in their business, right? And it's always funny because those are the type of people to me that get on the social media platforms and they announce that they're leaving. You guys have seen that? Where like literally someone and they're on social media and all of a sudden you'll just get a message or they'll post a message that says like, I need a break. I'm going to take a break from social media. And in my brain, I'm like, just take the break. Like, who needs to really know? If I don't see you, then I wouldn't see you and I'd be okay. Here's the funny part. The pessimistic side of that exact statement, someone could say, well, Percita, it's a mental health thing, right? I mean, how do we know that they're not going through something? And they need you to be able to, call on them or find out if they're okay. There's always going to be a what if. There's always going to be a position of like, well, that's possible. Of course it's possible. And I'm not telling you, again, it's right or wrong. I'm telling you that in my perspective, I still find it to be slightly comical. If I feel like I need to say something to the person, of course I would, but I still wouldn't do it on social media. Meaning I would hope that I would see something in my spirit about this person that would not just be based on their social media presence for me to be concerned about them. And that gets a little tricky because some people only identify people's identity through social media. And if you're not on social media, then they don't really think you exist. Again, those are not the people who can move in silence. So I am asking you today, can you move in silence? Are you able to actually just get things done and accomplish things? And if you want to show it off after it's accomplished. Because there's a lot that comes to the person who tries to talk about it prior or at the beginning or during the process that can't typically handle anything that may go wrong. And it's so much easier to move once things have been accomplished than it is to try to explain on why it didn't happen. My take. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. I wanted to shoot that by you. See what you thought. Ask yourself again. Moving in silence, is it something that I can do? I hope so. I think it's possible. And I think it's important that you have the balance between knowing when to speak and when not to speak and who to do it with and to. So, as always, in the process of doing that, you have to do 3 things. Live life authentic. Thank you so much for joining me. I greatly appreciate you, and I'll see you soon.